Hello and welcome back to True Crime Guys podcast. I'm your host, Michael, and thank God Andy's here with me.
I am here, man. I just dropped my hat on the floor. I'm ready to kick off my shoes and stay a while.
Get yourself together, man.
No, fuck that.
Together. We got to sit here and we got a lot to talk about today.
Fly by the edge of my pants like usual.
Well, you would have to live under a rock to not know anything about Lindsay Clancy right now.
Oh, God.
And it's, everyone's algorithm's different, right? You might live under a different algorithm. So maybe you haven't seen it, but if you have anything to do with true crime or you're in the true crime world at all, Lindsay Clancy, the name has been thrown around, I'm sure, and for good reason. This is an insane case, and I want to preface this episode by saying that this trial is ongoing right now as we speak. Witnesses are being brought up. I don't know if they're halfway through it or not. Who knows how long this trial is going to last. Right, so there's a lot of moving parts to it. If you go to YouTube and you just type in Lindsay Clancy, right now you're just going to get bombarded with court videos.
Yeah, all of them.
And so right up until the time we're recording this on August 18th of 2026, me and Andy have just been watching court videos and just watching the most up-to-date stuff just to try to, be as up-to-date as possible, obviously, in this episode. But I chose to go ahead and do it for one. It's hot right now. It's hard to ignore. So I've been intaking so much information on it anyways, right? But also, the timeline of the case is pretty much cut and dry.
Yeah.
The timeline is not the concern of this case. This case is built around mental health.
Yeah. It's not so much what happened or who did it. It's why.
Exactly. But before we get into more detail about that, guys, I got to remind you that you can catch these episodes early, ad-free, with bonus content on Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. You can also be a free member on there as well. So, guys, please go check it out just so you can be in the know of everything that we're releasing there on Patreon. But today, we're talking about Lindsay Clancy. She was a Massachusetts mother. She is currently on trial, as I said, right now. The court proceedings are ongoing. For the January 2023 murders of her 3 children. Now, the case is making headlines because her defense is arguing that she suffered from severe postpartum psychosis. And the prosecutors obviously claim that the killings were more deliberate, more intentional. There's planning and, precedents that she took before doing these murders that's kind of hard to ignore.
Yeah.
And probably not something that someone with psychosis would do.
Yes,
right?
Before and after the murder of steps that she took afterwards to claim insanity.
Exactly.
So
there is a lot to talk about here, and like I said, this case is still unfolding. So a lot of this will be, Andy and myself's opinion about this case, but we do have a pretty concrete timeline of the crime. So plenty to talk about, Andy. Let's roll that intro and let's get into it.
Right, you will.
Tell us about Lindsay when she was a kid. Was she a good kid, good student, that type of thing?
She was a very good kid and an excellent student. Very excellent student all through school, through high school, college. Yes, excellent.
Ever been in trouble, law enforcement or schools or discipline or anything?
No. Lindsay was a very loving mother. She was dedicated to her children. She was a fun mother. She was always doing things for her kids. She always wanted to be a mother, have many children, and I felt it was the best thing that ever happened to her. And she would do anything for her children. She was just a loving mother. She said that she couldn't remember anything. The medication was pretty much just destroying her mind, and it wasn't her. She said, this isn't me. I just want to feel better and enjoy my kids again. She had become, during this whole time, paranoid about different things that really she shouldn't have, really weren't logical to become paranoid about. She would mention that this wasn't her mind. She would say to me, this isn't me. I've never been like this before. And I would agree because she wasn't. I remember her being very nervous. I remember her saying, I just have to tell you guys something. She told us that she had thoughts of harming the children.
All right. So Lindsay Clancy was born August 11th, 1990. Good year.
Good year.
Excellent year.
That's a good year, Michael. That's a good
It
vintage.
is. That's right. She was raised in Wigford, Connecticut. She graduated from high school and then later from college. And she quickly found work as a labor and delivery nurse at a hospital in Massachusetts. And I think that's what she always wanted to do. I think up until this point, her life was going exactly as planned.
Yeah, she kind of had a very much normal life.
Yeah.
There's nothing, especially for her early life, nothing really extraordinary.
Nothing that I could find, yeah.
No.
And then none of that came up in testimony from her sister or mother or anything like that. So I'm guessing pretty average childhood. But in the summer of 2013, she met a man named Patrick Clancy. Patrick was in, what was he, technology?
Yeah, like IT.
IT, yeah. He was he had IT profession. I'm not really sure what he did exactly.
He just looked amazingly young or old at random times in his life.
It depends, right?
Yeah, depending on what picture you're looking at. This man could be 12 years old or 52. I don't get, like, it's, this man has a weird, this man takes a weird picture.
Yeah, he does. And I think the trial has aged him quite a bit here.
Yeah.
Recently, right? He's having it tough. But they married in December of 2016. They lived in the town of Duxbury, just south of Boston. Their house was located on Summer Street. It was a 1,700 square foot home, 3-bedroom, probably 2-bath, nothing crazy.
Pretty standard.
But they seemed like they lived a pretty comfortable life.
Yeah, they were the average American family, it seemed.
Right. And they had a daughter named Cora, who was 5 years old, Dawson, 3 years old, and Callan, 8 months old. And they had the ideal life. And they were building a family. Lindsay joked with her friends about wanting enough children to fill a baseball team.
Jeez. Yeah, you already got 3.
I feel like every parent who has at least 3 kids has heard that phrase. Oh, what are you doing? Trying to fill a ball team?
You got a starting
You know what I
lineup for a basketball team there.
Yeah. So, but regardless, it seemed like after Callan was born, who was the youngest, it seemed as though she did want to have more kids, though.
I mean, still at 8, that's one of the things too. All of her kids are really close in age, so it's hard to really kind of like when you start talking about some of the postpartum that she goes through. It's like you were just kind of banging kids out one after the other. It's hard to even separate when you were postpartum and when you were just pregnant again. Like you were pretty consistent with your babies.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2-year gap, and then over almost a 3-year gap. So not crazy, but I see what you're saying though. I do, and sometimes it can take weeks for the psychosis to come into effect. You know what I'm saying? So you have to consider that time too.
And women deal with postpartum depression for long times after having a baby. Sometimes,
Yeah.
So
maybe she was wanting to have. This may just be my ignorant opinion, but maybe she was wanting to stay pregnant because that's when she was happiest. Flooded with the hormones, flooded with the attention. You know what I mean? Everyone's complimenting you, constantly telling you how good you look because you're pregnant.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. But after her third child, Lindsay did not return to work full time, although she wanted to. Because after her first 2 children, she went back to work part time. But she would still kind of like helicopter parent, right? So they had cameras all over the house. She was constantly tapped in through her phone, watching the cameras because they had a sitter or a nanny rather. And this nanny, I can't remember her first name. Her last name is Rossi. She has taken the stand already, and her testimony was quite interesting because first off, she seems like a fantastic nanny. She seems like great. Like she helped Lindsay with housekeeping, laundry, food prep. I mean, way above and beyond just caring for the children.
yeah.
Okay. So when she had the third child, Lindsay was kind of going back and forth about going back to work. So during this time, she did have Rossi still there with her until she finally decided to stay home full time. But what was crazy is at no time after the baby was born, after Callan was born, did she really have him for any long periods of time. Like there was very small windows where she probably had to actually take care of all 3 of her children. And I feel like this plays a role, Andy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It has to, because it's no coincidence, I think, that around the time you fire your nanny, you say, okay, I'm going to stay home from work
Yeah.
full time. And then shortly after,
The stress starts
you have
building.
the break.
Yeah. All those responsibilities start
Right?
piling up. You have three
And
kids
it's
you're
like-
watching out for
exactly.
full time.
And everyone in her life's like, oh, she was such a great mom. She was so organized and this and that. It's like, well, yeah, she had help. She had 2 people helping her. One,
For a while.
Yeah, like Rossi, you can tell she is very experienced with children. She's a little bit older than Lindsay. I would say maybe 10 years. But you can tell she's patient, she's experienced, she knows what she's doing. And Lindsay herself talked about how much she appreciated her help and stuff. And like they trusted Rossi to like take the kids to after school appointments, pick them up from school, all these different things. Right? So you had this other, and I understand she's leaving work, so now your income has dropped,
Yeah.
right? So maybe they can't afford to have a nanny anymore, right?
Yeah.
You follow me? So maybe these 2 things, because it's easy to say, okay, you couldn't handle your kids, you're having all this problem. Why did you get rid of the nanny?
Right.
Why didn't you just let her take the kids, and then you have your alone time to sort through your thoughts, or check yourself into a hospital, leave her with the kids. You see
Yeah.
what I mean? But if you can't afford her anymore,
Yeah,
then
it's
this
a whole
is
different
this is a
story.
different conversation, right? I don't know. I couldn't find any other reason other than the fact that Lindsay was going to be staying home. That's the only reason they got rid of the nanny.
Yeah, she just wanted to stay. Well, we talk about how she was such a helicopter parent. Like she wanted to be more in control. Like
Exactly.
she starts to show a little bit more of that controlling side as this progresses.
Exactly. But when she doesn't return to work, I just feel like she just goes downhill. Once she succumbs to the fact of, okay, I'm going to stay home and do this, I think it just gets worse. She gets rid of Rossi, but immediately her mother comes into town and starts staying with them. And now her mother's driving her places because she doesn't feel like she can drive. She doesn't feel safe to drive. Things like that. And even Rossi, the nanny, she said there was a couple instances where she had to stay late to pick the other 2 up from school or whatever because Lindsay said, I can't drive. No reason, no explanation. She was driving the day before. She's driving the day after. But she just calls her, I can't drive.
Yeah.
Just simple as that. Now, she could have just taken medication. You know, Andy, like some medications, especially on the different medications she was prescribed, which we'll get to, probably not safe to operate a vehicle. Or she could have been drinking. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But I'm just saying she had help around her. And in my opinion, this is crucial.
Yeah. She was not alone during this time.
No. So there was one time, for instance, this is just an example of kind of like how she used to be a helicopter parent. She said one time she saw Cora crying on a video feed while she was at work. Okay, this was before Callan was born. So she called the police and asked for a wellness check because Patrick didn't answer the phone.
Okay. So why didn't she call the nanny? Like,
Well,
yeah.
because Patrick was at home with the kids, obviously, at this time.
okay.
I get the vibe that Patrick works from home via
some.
IT. Some, yeah.
Because we'll get to it when he's during the actual crime, he's at work.
Yes.
So
So Patrick did not answer the phone. And so she seemed, I don't know. I would say that's a little bit paranoid.
yeah, a little overprotective.
That's a little over paranoid right there. That might have been, and this is after her second child, right? So I'm thinking this might have been some little early onsights, maybe not of psychosis, but it could be because I watched some videos. Soft White Underbelly on YouTube not just put out a video, but it's popping off right now because of this Lindsay Clancy case. But it's about a couple who experienced postpartum psychosis, and the wife and husband are both sitting there together telling the story of what happened. So you're hearing it from her point of view, you're hearing it from his, and it is incredibly insightful. But what I found most interesting about this video is none of her symptoms and the way she described it really lined up with Lindsay.
yeah.
They just don't.
No. Not the psychosis stuff. Like we talked, like postpartum depression. Yes. Like
Yes.
She had a lot of postpartum depression after her kids, but the psychosis part, even the people who are closest to her don't say she's showing any signs of being psychotic.
Exactly.
So
Exactly. So when she finally decides to stay home and she's still having a lot of anxiety about, is this the right decision, whatnot, she's still having intrusive thoughts. And like I said, her mother comes and stays with her at this time. But eventually she goes and sees a clinician who prescribed her Zoloft and Ativan. Now, I don't know if this same clinician prescribed her both, but she had both of them at the same time. I think it was, though.
Yeah,
I
you
think
can take
this was the first. But what I'm saying is, she saw a variety of different clinicians, from counselors to just doctors who wrote her prescriptions and stuff like that. So it kind of gets confusing, and some people place blame on her for like not sticking with a certain doctor, not sticking with a certain plan, or they place a lot of blame on the doctors, obviously, for just pushing her around and not checking her history or what medication she was already on.
Yeah.
And sometimes things got stacked by doctors who should have known better.
Yeah.
But
they do talk about, because that was one of the things that stuck out to me, was that like she would go to doctors, she would tell them about symptoms, they would start her on a plan, and then if it didn't seem to be fixing her immediately, she would stop the plan.
Right.
And then she would go to another doctor.
Exactly.
Which I know people like that. It's a constant search. You're never going to get the answer that you
Right.
want. So
Yeah.
she's going to keep going to a different doctor, that tells her what she wants to hear,
Right.
basically.
Yeah, exactly. So eventually she was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder. Just they were like, whatever, I feel like they were like, let's put a blanket on this and let's get you on something. And
Yeah, we need to get you
going.
on something.
Yeah. But at this point, Lindsay's husband was getting concerned about her treatment because it was more drug focused and not counseling.
Yeah, there was no
focused.
real
He
therapy.
thought she needs to talk to someone.
Yeah, she needs therapy.
Yes, she needs to talk this out. She needs to speak to someone in addition to being prescribed something, right? So by November of 2022, Lindsay, at this time, she started to get to where she didn't want to eat. She didn't have much of an appetite. She isolated herself a lot. She had just completely decided work was just out of the question. On one occasion, she was rocking back and forth on a living room couch, terrified, and her heart was racing. She drove herself to an emergency room after going 2 nights without sleeping. Now, 2 nights without sleeping. Now, but she was prescribed Ambien. And according to her attorney, according to everything that we know about this case, she took her prescriptions as prescribed.
Yeah.
We just have to believe that, I guess. We don't know anything otherwise.
She seems
what I
like
mean?
the type of person who would take the prescriptions. Like
She
if
does.
If she's going and searching them out, she would try them. She would take the medications at least.
And, if she would have gave a little more insight onto, like, you're sitting on the living room couch, right? You're terrified, your heart's racing, you're rocking back and forth. Now, this sounds like psychosis.
Or it just sounds
This-
like you're having a panic attack.
Or it sounds like you're having a panic
Like a
attack. That's
very
what I'm
bad-
saying.
yeah.
It sounds like psychosis, but we don't know what your brain is thinking. Like, if you're rocking back and forth because you think aliens are landing on your roof and they're going to come in and get you at any point in time, now we're talking psychosis. But if you're just generalized anxious...
Yeah, if you're
then
just rocking back and forth and you don't know why you're having your heart's racing and you
Right.
feel so scared, that you're having a panic attack.
You're having a panic attack, right? But, so naturally, Lindsay was like, these drugs aren't working.
No.
Right? They're not working for me. So she finds a new prescriber. And at some point, she received different prescriptions, including Valium, Trazodone, Clonidine, Prozac, and others. And the defense says that she was on 4 or more prescriptions at a time, but the prosecution says that they could only find 3.
Yeah.
Okay, and you can understand how it's the prosecution's best defense to say less prescriptions because they don't want to blame the prescriptions.
Yeah.
They want her to be at fault, right? And whereas the defense is like, no, it was this crazy cocktail,
Yeah, it was all these
You
drugs
know?
she was taking.
right? And you have to think, like, when you have all these different prescriptions and they're piling up, right? It's like, I understand that well, hopefully you've read about the medicines you're taking, right? You see how they've been researched and whatnot, but have they been researched on people taking all the other medications that you're taking? It's like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, you're taking these tested medications, but you're not taking. But how many other people are taking Valium, Trazodone, Clonidine, Prozac, and all this together? Have they done tested on all this together?
Yeah.
It's like you're a guinea pig in a sense.
Yeah, very much so.
We all are. Yeah, we are. I mean, that's the truth. So Lindsay finally visited a hospital on December 20th, 2022. And at that time, the clinician found no symptoms of postpartum depression. Now, they don't. It's like they do, but they can't they can't tell what's being caused by like an ill response to prescriptions and what's being caused by an actual disorder. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? At this point, because she is so medicated and she's not sleeping. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's hard to diagnose someone in this state.
Yeah, she's
so
very...
I think that is the reason she was found no symptoms of postpartum depression. I don't know.
And there's also the opposite viewpoint where people were saying that she was basically manipulating people, that she was almost like faking some of these symptoms and then going to the hospital and they couldn't find anything. They're like, you're not,
right.
You don't have the actual symptoms.
Right.
Because she didn't know how to fake it.
Like maybe she's trying to justify an alibi later.
Yeah. Like she's saying, I have this, this, this. And they're like, well, you're not showing the symptoms of that. And she's like, I thought you would just accept that I said that.
Yeah, maybe.
So, because some of the prosecution later on does say that she is a manipulative person, that she controls these situations, that she tries to get people to believe her, basically. So,
well, of course. I mean, that's their job.
So,
right?
That's what I'm saying. That's just the opposite viewpoint that the prosecution is coming at.
Yeah.
That she was going to these doctors to basically get an alibi.
Yeah. Now, regardless of what you think about Lindsay as far as her motives in the murder and her, responsibility, there was something going on. Mm-hmm. Okay. And all sides agree on that. By the end of December, Lindsay was having thoughts of suicide and she felt numb about having thoughts about suicide. She wasn't thinking about the people she would leave. She wasn't thinking about her kids, but she was thinking about harming her children.
Yeah.
And this is from testimony from her own mother. Mm-hmm. Okay. Now her sister testifies a little bit about Lindsay not seeming herself and this and that. But then when the prosecution cross-examined her, she was like, well, if your sister was having issues, why didn't you report her? Right? Because Lindsay's sister is a social worker. She has a duty to report.
Yeah.
And she did not report her own sister, even though to the defense, she claimed that she saw her having mental issues and she was not being herself and she was, disassociating.
Yeah.
Right? Well, if that's the case, why didn't you report her?
Why didn't you talk to her? Why didn't you talk to somebody? Why didn't you get her the help
you
that
have
she
a
needed?
duty to report.
Yeah.
In your job. You didn't report her. You knew she needed help. Mm-hmm. And the mother, too. The mother literally sits on the stage and says that Lindsay came to her and Patrick and said, I'm having thoughts about harming the kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she told both her mother and her husband that.
She did.
So there's no questioning that she was these things were going on, or at least that she said they were going on.
Exactly. So when she goes to her clinician and tells him this, he basically is like, well, what are your plans to act on these? Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, I don't have plans. And he's like, well, there you go. If you don't have plans, then they're just thoughts.
Yeah.
Right? You're not taking it to the next step.
Mm-hmm. Which is, it's pretty accurate. It's somewhat accurate in a mental health issue.
Everyone has intrusive thoughts. I get that.
But it's like, as long as if you're not starting to make the plans to act on those intrusive thoughts, then they are just intrusive thoughts. But that's, if the doctor's asking you, it's like, okay, well, have you made any plans to follow through with them? Now we have to worry.
So let's say she has made plans to follow through with them. I'm pretty sure that telling other people about those plans is not part of the plan.
No, but
so you have to rule that out.
But that's usually one of the first warning signs that they can catch if they can ask you that question. It's like, are you planning on acting on any of these thoughts? Have you even thought about how you would go about doing this?
And you also have to understand the volume of people that these clinicians deal with that say they're going to hurt themselves, that say they have thoughts of hurt, and they don't. Mm-hmm. And they don't. And they don't. You know what I'm saying? It's like, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just saying, it happens. It happens. But on New Year's Day, 2023, Lindsay was given, help me with this medication, amitriptyline?
Amitriptyline? Yeah, I can't really say that one.
Amitriptyline? I'm not sure how to pronounce that. I'm sorry. But this was her 13th medication in just 4 months.
Got a baker's dozen there.
Yeah, she's going through the depression meds for sure.
Which, again, is really difficult. Because as someone who's taken a lot of different antidepressant meds over the years and tried different medications, a lot of those medications take like weeks to build up in your system to
Right.
where like you really start feeling the effects of them. And so it's like in just 4 months, she's gone through like 13 medications almost.
Yeah.
It's like you're not giving your body enough time to build up what it's supposed to be doing.
Right.
How it's supposed to be reacting to these medications. And if you're starting them for a week and being like, well, I'm not getting happy, and you're stopping them, you're not going to get any of the effects of the medication. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So many of those like antidepressant medications they take a few weeks to really build up in your system.
Right.
So yeah, if she's just rolling through them and not giving them the right amount of time, then she's not going to get any benefits.
Also, physically, she's not really taking care of herself either, right? It's
Yeah,
like
she's
you're
not eating,
expecting,
not sleeping.
Yeah, you're expecting these medications to be a heal-all when you're not sleeping properly, you're not eating properly, you're not exercising properly. And I got a lot of this from the nanny's testimony, okay? Because the nanny was basically brought on to deal with Callan, the 8-month-old,
Yeah.
the youngest, okay? So the attorney asked her, she was like, when you have Callan, where is Lindsay? And she's like, well, she's most of the time, she's in the basement. She's either asleep or she's working out, right? So she's getting physical activity and or sleeping at a time where she's telling people that she's not sleeping. And then check this out, right? And then Rossi, the nanny, she does laundry for them, right? Well, the laundry is in the basement.
Yeah.
So she has to make multiple trips down to the basement. And she said never once did she see Lindsay sleeping or working out down there.
Yeah. Just being down there is just not. You're basically just hiding from your responsibilities almost.
Right? Yeah. She's down there like disassociating, or maybe I don't know. I don't know. It was a weird line of questioning. It really was. It was like the nanny's like, "Oh yeah, she's down there sleeping or working out," and they're like, "Did you ever see her doing that?" No,
but that's what she said she was doing.
Right? So she's popping these medications and just waiting for them to make her magically feel better, and taking no other steps. So. But this brings us to that fateful day, January 24th, 2023. Lindsay took her daughter Cora to an appointment with a pediatrician in the morning, and then after that, they went home and played in the snow. Cora and Dawson obviously played in the snow. Little Callan is too young. But they built a snowman, and Lindsay even texted photographs of the kids playing in the snow to Patrick and her mom. So she's having like this manic up episode. Like everything's great. Everything is wonderful.
Yeah, they talk. That's one thing they said, that like the day before was like one of her best days in a long time.
And it kind of bled into this day a little bit.
Yeah, and as soon as they said that, I was like, yeah, she's having a manic episode. Like she's having a really bad episode of mania. Exactly.
So at 4:53 on that day, Lindsay sent a text message to Patrick, who at the time was working in the basement of their house. And she asked him if he would go to pick up takeout. Okay. But Lindsay placed this order at 5:10 p.m. The restaurant that she picked was quite a bit farther away than a restaurant that they normally go to, right? So Patrick left 5 minutes later to pick up the food. But while he was out, Lindsay also wanted him to stop by a CVS. Now, this is crucial because while he's at this CVS, he is caught on camera, and it's around 5:33. It's almost exactly 5:33 that he is in the CVS, and this is crucial because the murders happened between 5 and 6.
Yep.
Okay, so his timeline and his alibi is completely backed up due to phone records, location data, and not to mention you can see him right there.
Yeah.
On the camera.
And he also calls Lindsay from the CVS.
From the CVS.
You see him like look at his phone, call her, and like she doesn't answer, and then she calls him back.
Exactly.
So it's like he's literally talking to her while he's in the CVS.
Yes.
So
and when she calls him back, he's like, she didn't sound like not herself or crazy, he said, but she sounded busy.
Yeah, not distressed.
No, just like in the middle of something. Like you're interrupting something right now. Like I gotta go.
I didn't answer for a reason.
Yeah, exactly. So she seemed busy. And also, what's interesting is during the call that Patrick first made, all the way until the end when Lindsay called him back, she actually moved up 2 levels of the house, and they can tell that by the phone data. They can tell that when her phone was ringing the first time, she was going from the basement to the mid floor, right, or to the bottom floor of the house. And then she went from the first floor to the second floor while talking to him the second time.
Yeah.
And they were able to actually track that data, and they can see her moving up the stairwells. So they think by this time, the children are already gone, and she's moving to the top.
And if not all of them, at least some of them are already gone. Like
Yes.
she, as morbid as this is, she probably had to do one at a time, like bring one down to the basement, do what she did, go back, get another one.
It could have been one of her multiple trips, right?
So she's probably having to do this multiple times to not cause too much of a panic or a scene or anything. And
Exactly.
it's more of a methodical type plan. If that, as like I said, it's very morbid, but
Possibly.
it's kind of makes sense that she would be doing that.
And in the middle of this quote unquote psychosis, Andy, she's having perfectly legible text messages and conversations with her husband,
Yes.
and maintaining the secrecy of what she's doing.
Yeah. Acting totally normal.
Very crucial, in my opinion. So Patrick gets home around 6:09 p.m. There is no sign of Lindsay or the kids when he comes in the door. But 2 minutes after walking around, he sees blood on the floor, and then he noticed that a couple windows were open in the house. So he calls 911 at around 6:11. While on the phone with the operator, Patrick runs out to the backyard, and this phone call is going to be available soon. It's going to be heart-wrenching. It's obviously a lot of this is still kept under wraps right now, but they do have this audio from this phone footage and or from this 911 call. And I bet oh God, I know it's heart-wrenching. But while on the phone with the operator, Patrick runs to the backyard and he found his wife on the ground, where Lindsay told him that the children were in the basement. When emergency responders arrived, they found that Lindsay had attacked all 3 kids by strangling them with exercise bands. And the first officer on scene, he testified as well, and he couldn't even get through it without tearing up, man. His testimony was absolutely heart-wrenching. Cora and Dawson were killed immediately, and Callan was mortally wounded and died 3 days later.
God, and he's the youngest.
He's the 8-month-old.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after conducting the attack, Lindsay made her way out of a second-story window of their house. And obviously, she got very badly injured when she landed on the ground, and she jumped feet first. She did have cuts on her neck and wrist. There were some feeble suicide attempts, lackluster, I guess. Even the doctor said that it wasn't very convincing. Yeah, I guess.
I love the way that they say she made her way out a second-story window. It's like you don't make your way out. That's how you escape from somewhere, by making your way out.
Right.
When you throw yourself out a second-story window, it's not, you didn't make your way out.
No, she jumped out.
Yeah, she threw herself out the second-story window.
Yeah.
And was just laying on the ground, which we realized she's paralyzed now. She's stuck there.
Yeah.
Whether or not she was trying to run away or not, she wasn't going to.
No, I don't think she was trying to run away. I think she thought, if I jump and I break a leg, then it'll be convincing, right? And then, I go to the hospital, I get a cast. But this is January in Massachusetts, and the ground is frozen solid.
Yeah.
So
it's like hitting concrete.
Yeah. So, she had severe injuries to her spine. She was paralyzed from the waist down, and she still is. And I think that adds a little bit to her sympathy, her sitting there in the courtroom in a wheelchair. Mm-hmm. But I really don't feel it. I'm like, no, you did that to yourself.
Yeah. What did you think was going to happen?
No. Yeah. I just, that's best case scenario, or maybe worst case scenario. To her, that's probably worse than dying. Yeah. So, it's kind of capital punishment there. But Lindsay was immediately charged with the murder, strangulation, or suffocation, they didn't know at the time, and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. Mm. She was charged with all that. The state believed that the killings were completely premeditated, because 4 days before the killings, Lindsay searched, "Can you treat a sociopath?" and "Ways to kill."
Oh, man. Did you not use Firefox? Didn't?
No DuckDuckGo?
No?
No.
No incognito?
Yeah. And then, obviously, she sends out her husband to be away so she can be alone with the kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And makes him go even further than he normally goes.
Yes. And then calls him and is like, "Go by CVS and get this." It's like, that was all bullshit. They didn't need that.
Yeah.
See what I mean? She just needed a little more time to complete. Mm-hmm.
She needed a window.
Tasks. Yeah.
No pun intended.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, the coroner said that not the coroner, I'm sorry, the doctor that checked her out at the hospital said that her attempt to harm herself was half-hearted, was considered half-hearted by the state. They believe the cuts were superficial, and as far as hitting the ground and damaging her spine, like we said, Lindsay probably didn't think about the ground being frozen, so she probably thought she was going to get off a little easier than what she did.
Fucking hit that concrete ground.
Yeah. So like I said, the state believes this was completely premeditated and that Lindsay should go to prison for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
Yeah, bare minimum. But my opinion, Lindsay has not that I think she deserves it, but she has a real chance of avoiding conviction.
Yeah, she does.
She really does, at least of not getting life. Because in Massachusetts, a defendant can be found not guilty by reason of insanity if they lack the capacity to conform their conduct to the requirements of the law. And this is applicable even if the person understood the difference between right and wrong.
State laws are so...
Massachusetts is super lenient. Super lenient on this, dude, on the insanity plea. They're way more generous than any other state, dude.
Yeah, because they have Boston. They know people... Listen, either you're going to be insane or you're not. But listen, you can act like a crazy person. We'll treat you like a crazy person.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
and the other thing, I was going to say, she might get off too, because even in the... with the testimonies and stuff, when they have Patrick up on the stand, he comes out and forgives her. Like,
yeah.
He doesn't hate her.
Well, it's been 3 years.
Yeah,
to
it's
be
like
fair.
he
He's had a lot of
doesn't-
time to work through it, and he's moved on. He's remarried to a woman that looks just like her, by the way.
That's
You should
not creepy.
Google that. And
But,
and she's in the birth field.
Oh, wow, damn. But yeah, it's like he has forgiven her and doesn't blame her for what happened. So like they've even said that like that could go a long way with the jury for her
definitely.
ex-husband to say like, I don't blame her.
Right.
So,
And it's crazy to think he's coming out and helping her case, and then people are still trying to pin this on him.
how can,
That's
there's
absurd. There's no basis to that.
no, she has come out and
If it comes
admitted
out
to doing
if
this.
it comes out and he did this by some crazy stretch, man, I'll eat all the crow. But dude, come on.
Yeah.
That's absurd. That's baseless claims right there.
and
Baseless.
It's not even coming from her.
No.
You know what I mean?
Also, her lawyer is one of the best in the business. Okay? This man, Reddington, he's been at it for 40 years. He got a guy off that strangled his wife in cold blood. He got him off with manslaughter.
Jesus. I mean, he's no, what's her name's lawyer from Florida. He's no, God, what was that guy's name?
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah, I know you're I know.
yeah, what I'm saying is this dude is really good, right? He's best in the field. If there was an inkling of evidence that could redirect this to someone else, he would be all over their ass.
Yeah.
If there was any way he could blame this on Patrick, you can bet he'd be blaming it on him.
Yeah. There's no evidence that
You
points to
can't.
Patrick.
No. Not only is there no evidence, there's just the opposite. There's tons of evidence that backs up his testimony. Mm-hmm. You know, but it's oh man, it's a tough case. There's a lot to talk about. Like I said, there's still so much coming out in court. I mean, personally, I believe she's a danger to society. I mean, anyone who will kill their own kids, regardless of it's a fugue state, a psychosis, whatever, you're still a danger.
Yeah.
Like at the very least, she should spend the rest of her life in a psychiatric ward.
Yeah.
the
Or under
very
close
least.
supervision
At the
somewhere.
very least.
Like, if she's not on parole somewhere constantly checking in, like, I could see her getting out one day if she does go to prison. But at the same time, she needs to be under close supervision. Like,
Yeah.
if you have the ability to snap and murder your children, you have the ability to snap and murder anybody.
That's
So
what I'm
it's-
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, that's not going to go away. If you have the ability to do that, I don't think you're going to get cured of that, so to speak.
Maybe
That
not.
makes sense. I don't
Yeah.
know. And that could be totally insensitive. But
And then also, you know, are you considering the cocktail of medications? Maybe she had a very rare, strange reaction to all of these mental drugs she was taking. Literally every drug was for brain chemistry.
pretty much, yeah.
You have to consider that, Andy. I mean, like I said, I just don't think it's enough of an excuse. I really don't. Even with Patrick forgiving her and all that, like I said, and I can tell you agree too. So she's just a danger.
Yeah.
And as simple as that. Like, and it's sad because, you know, Patrick Patrick and most of the people who are close to her, her sister, her mother, they all believe that her mental health caused her behavior. Regardless of whether it's whatever caused the psychosis, they just say that wasn't her. Patrick said, "I wasn't married to a monster. I was married to someone who got sick."
Yeah.
And
Like, she never showed signs of this behavior up until now. Like, she was not a violent person. She had never had any mental health episodes.
Right.
Like, she had never shown that she was capable of this. It's not like he married somebody who was unstable to begin with.
right.
Like, she relatively slowly, like, fell into this.
Yeah.
So I can see why he says that. And yeah, I do believe her mental health played a significant role in this.
Definitely.
So,
I wonder how much being a stay-at-home mom affected her, because it's not for the faint of heart, dude. People think, like, I think some women think that's like the dream life, right? That's the dream job. But you kind of, if you're not, especially for a woman like Lindsay, right, who's always done exactly what she wanted to do, right? She was very successful. She didn't have any roadblocks, right? Even in motherhood up until this point, she was super mom who works and takes care of her kids and da 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 da. You know what I'm saying? But now you're just mom at home and you can't even handle that. You know what I'm saying? Like, or maybe this is not the identity you wanted. Maybe you weren't ready to give up your entire identity as a person to be mom.
yeah,
And when you have 3 kids,
that's your job.
yes, you are associated with having a lot of children. You're associated with children.
Yeah, you are a parent.
Like, yes, you're a parent. And so, maybe that new identity kind of depressed her in a way too. She felt like, well, I don't have this outlet of my work friends and getting to have this time by myself and having the, I don't know, the feeling of making my own money, providing for myself, like she always had. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It was just a perfect storm.
No, I think it
Maybe it was.
definitely was a perfect storm. Like, I don't think that she was going to do this on her own. I think there was a mental health hurricane that hit and a concoction of medications that she was on that led her to doing these things. Like I said, just like they said, I think she got sick. This was not who she was.
Yeah.
It's not who she is, but she's still a danger.
Definitely.
Like, if she's capable of doing this, it could happen again.
And
maybe.
look, if she gets off, Andy, that sets a terrible precedent. In today's age, mental illness is as popular as freaking socks, bro. Like, everybody's got something. Like, what kind of precedent does this set? If you can murder your kids and get off because you had an episode.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's a scary, scary, slippery slope.
Very much so.
It really is. But guys, like I said, we're going to be following this case. New videos are coming out almost hourly on YouTube. I'm not even kidding. Like, there's these big networks. Law and Crime, I think, is one. There's a couple other networks on YouTube that are just constantly putting out the new court information. As soon as these people come out of the courtroom, the newscasters are grabbing them. Like, what happened? What happened? Mm-hmm. And plus they're releasing video pretty quickly of all the people who were called to the stand, which that in itself, it's like almost every single person that was called to the stand had like a mic drop moment. Like, whoa.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, they did.
That's
actually
interesting. Yeah, almost every single person said something detrimental to the case. So it's definitely worth checking out. I know this is a rabbit hole, guys, and I know you're probably going to get tired of hearing about it, but it's something that we had to cover on the show. And like I said, if it comes out and I'm wrong and someone else did this by some crazy happenstance, but I mean, she's already admitted to the facts that she's committed the murder, right? Even her lawyer has already conceded to that. So it's kind of hard to come out. It's just going to be, what is her punishment? And is it harsh enough?
Yeah.
For such oh my God, the worst of crimes.
Yeah. We don't cover a lot of these, and we do. They're always bad.
Yeah, always.
But you know what's not bad, Michael?
What's that?
Oh my Gaia.
You're right. It is the best.
It is the best, Michael. It makes you keep you smelling good, keep your beard all nice and smooth and hydrated during the summertime.
That's right.
Winter's coming too, guys.
Winter's
It's going to start getting dry.
That's right. Because Oh My God is an innovative all-natural deodorant, fragrance, and beard oil company specializing in paraben and aluminum-free products. Their innovative line of deodorants inhibit the growth of odor-causing bacteria while still maintaining effectiveness. And like Andy mentioned, there's beard oil, there's scented oils. There's all kinds of scents, too, at ohmygaia.com. That's OHMYGAIA.com. And because you're True Crime Guys listeners, you can use the code word Crimepine, Crimepine, no space, for 15% off your order. Again, that's at ohmygaia.com, ohmygaia.com, or at shop_ohmygaia on Instagram. Guys, make sure you give them a follow. Make sure you support those that support us. We appreciate it very, very much. Speaking of supporting us, don't forget Patreon, patreon.com/truecrimeguys. You can go on there now. You can be a free member and see all the stuff that we release. Sometimes we make posts available for free members, but for just $3 a month, you can get access to all these episodes early, ad-free, with bonus content and much more, as well as the 61st episodes that are in the vault. But yeah, like I said, hundreds of other audio files too, guys, on the other tiers. They're on Patreon. It's the best way to support the show, and there's a link right below the description of this episode. But make sure you give us a follow on social media at True Crime Guys on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything. All right, guys. Andy, you got anything else?
I do not, Michael. I think you kind of nailed that the outro there.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have a follow-up on this case pretty soon. I'm sure there'll be more coming out, and we'll do a Lindsay Clancy part 2 or something, or our thoughts so far, or something like that, right? But guys, until next time, I guess you have to just keep on and creeping, all right? Bye!
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.